Well, hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. I want to do a little quick project with you, and I got something down here I'm going to work on and make a planter out of. One of my neighbors, in fact, let me turn the camera down here a little bit. One of my neighbors threw away a fountain, and this fountain actually is quite fancy. And if you go look at Lowe's, you'll see it sells for a lot of money, but they were throwing it out. So because it's free for me, we don't really want a fountain, but I want a planter. I want a planter. Wouldn't that be so cool? Look at this. It's not quite put together right, but we will have it together correctly when we make a planter out of it. But I don't know. Maybe it's interesting. So what's going to happen here is, now you'll notice it's holding water. You can't have a planter that's going to hold water like that. So the first thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to damage it. We're going to cut some of the inside of this, and we want the water to drain inside the foundation down here. So I'm actually going to be cutting there's a ring down in here that I'm going to have to trim and kind of make it to where it'll pass water, and I'm going to drill a couple of holes in the middle of this so that it will drain water properly for whatever we want to put in here. So follow along. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Always use ear and eye protection. So the first thing we need to do here, obviously, is to give this thing a drain hole. And I have a drill bit here that we're going to use to do that with. I hope this works. There it goes. We have a drain hole. Just one though. Ah, bigger hole. That's nice. It's a pretty big fountain, so I want to be sure that it can drain real good. Well, that solves the problem of most of the water. However, look, there's still water here. So we're going to have to modify this ring a little bit. I think I'm going to put a notch in, probably a notch here and a notch over here. So you might be wondering why I bothered with leveling the stone down there, and it's not going to hold water, right? Well, actually I've changed my mind on the top. I'm going to make the top a little bird bath that will drain into the others when it rains too much. I think that might be cool. What do you say? So let's put it together. So here we have our stone. And there we go. It's ready to go. Now we need some soil, right? Okay, so we've got some potting soil in it. Actually, we got some garden soil in there, and we got some compost in that stuff. And the question is now, what are we gonna plant? Well, I've got a couple of surprises. First off, I'm gonna try a little bit of this lavender phlox. I don't know if this is gonna take off. This is from year before last, I believe. And so I'll go ahead and give it a shot. Also, I was looking at some of the other stuff I have in my collection, and the phlox I'm going to try in the top row, and I also have some of this nasturtium, Ford Hook Favorites mixed colors from Burpee, and we'll see if some of that can go. We'll put that in the bottom layer, and I say the phlox going in the top layer, the top dirt layer right here in this section. But here's the piece de resistance. I went shopping at Johnny's, and these are trailing nasturtium, and it says here that they grow from 6 to let's see, hang on, spacing requirements, well, it's 8 to 10 feet, or 8 to 12 feet. That's it, there it is, 8 to 12 feet long. So I'm intending this to kind of flow over and have a little bit of a thriller with some phlox and some of this nasturtium, and I have some nasturtium gleam mix from last year as well, and actually that's for this year, but I'm going to plant some of this in there. It's going to be pretty tightly packed, and in fact I'm going to put some of the trailing in the top section too, see what we can grow out of it. But yeah, so let's see what happens and see how it looks. This is the little surprise you may have seen in one of my previous videos where I talked about the thing I dragged home, and Mrs. Bowtie said she didn't want it in her front yard. Well, she did approve it for back here by the behind the grape arbor, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put it back here where we can enjoy it a little bit more. The bees will love it. The bees are just 20 feet over there, and we'll have to see what we can grow here. I'm a little excited though. I've been wanting to do this trailing mix. In fact, I went looking for this trailing nasturtium mix for about 2 years now, and I didn't find it. I thought I had it the first year. The last year I knew I didn't have it, but I just planted what I had left, what I could find. And finally I found it. Johnny Seeds is this trailing mix. No sponsorship or anything, but it's just where I happened to go to get it. So let's get these things planted. So this phlox is very small seeds, and it's called Lavender Beauty Phlox. They're very small, which tells me that these should not be planted very deep. In fact, these are probably surface sown. So these are the Ford Hook nasturtium mix, and these are supposed to grow 3 to 4 feet tall. So these could be pretty big. You can see how large the seeds are. These are more like pea seeds, and you kind of push them in a little bit, maybe a ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch, or a bit more. It's not rocket science, people. These seeds really want to grow, so just get them in the soil and keep them wet. So these nasturtium seeds are actually a little bit bigger than the other one. Of course, these do grow 8 to 10 feet high. It says right here on the front, 96 to 120 inches tall. So that's 8 to 10 feet. So we're going to stick these up inside the fountain, kind of in the back of each layer. So there we go, all planted up. Didn't take but a few seconds, and we have a new planter. I'm very excited. I've always wanted to grow these nasturtium. By the way, nasturtium are completely edible. They're a nice peppery flavor. They have beautiful little flowers and just have a wonderful taste. You can eat the whole plant, but my favorite thing is the flowers and the leaves. So anyway, one last thing left to do. There we go, it's ready to rock. Yeah, very simple little project from trash. I think it's gonna look beautiful. I think Mrs. Bowtie will too when she sees it flowing over with nasturtium. So I might have to plant more than I did plant in there, but there's a bunch in there, so we'll have to see how much it germinates. But yeah, won't that be exciting? Y'all stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. If you're just stumbling along here, just finding us, we talk mostly about gardening, sometimes about life. And if you are subscribed already and are returning, thank you for watching. It all helps the channel. If you have any questions or you have any suggestions, please put in the comments below, especially about this planter. As a planter right here, I'm a little concerned about the smallness of the holes. That's why I put a lot of extra holes in there to make sure that it would be able to drain real good. So hopefully it'll be good enough for a decent rainstorm, though we do tend to get some pretty intense rainstorms here on the panhandle of Florida. So please click the thumbs up if you thought this was informational, educational, or entertaining, and share this video on your social media. These are all free things that you can do that actually really help grow the channel, and not just this channel, but the whole network of channels that are on YouTube that all deal with gardening in every aspect of it. So things that you can learn that just amaze me every day. You can just sit down, look at YouTube, and figure it out. So all that being said, only one last thing to say, and I'm gonna do it with the bees. In the time I put this planter together, the bees went from just a few dozen sitting out on the porch to this, and they are active. Temperature's gone up just a few degrees, where we've been in the 70s all night and all morning, but it's just climbed up into the mid 70s. I'm keeping my distance today, but these bees are busy, busy, busy. Have a blessed day.